What's up, y'all? Welcome to Flames Reaction Channel. And today's video, I am reacting to the notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls. And with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. With that being said, y'all, let's dig into this documentary of Biggie Smalls.
Yes, flex after 2 or 3 bets is I wreck shit. What the fuck you expected?
Before the notorious B.I.G.'s debut album, Ready to Die, would go on to sell 4 million copies at least. Before he was nominated for a Grammy for his track Big Papa, For Born Again would be released after the passing of Biggie, enabling him to work with Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Missy Elliott, Method Man, and Busta Rhymes from Beyond the Grave. Before he hooked up with Lil' Kim but married Faith Evans. Young Christopher was a remarkable student and picked up a bunch of awards for his talents in English, but it was the streets where he felt most at home. At school, his friends had taken to calling him Big, but he got himself a new nickname as Biggie Smalls as a drug dealer and aspiring rapper. Where did he get that name from? Well, it came from a film known as Let's Do It Again, which came out in 1975.
Biggie Smalls.
Biggie attended high school with DMX, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, but he wasn't collaborating with them. Instead, he was busy making money on the streets. He began selling crack as young as 12. In his late teens, he was put away to prison, and when he got out, well, he decided to take his music a little more seriously and began recording demos in his mama's basement. 5 years later, he would be a global icon, but he found little peace while on top. He was consumed with paranoia, always looking over his shoulder. Now, his suspicions, they were justified because the man lost his life outside the Soul Train Music Awards in Los Angeles on March 9th, 1997 in a drive-by shooting. He was only 24 years old, and the case has never been solved. My name is Michael McCrudden, and welcome to Before They Were Dead, documenting the life of the notorious B.I.G. prior to his passing, here for you on Before They Were Dead. And as always, guys, be sure to let me know in the comments down below who you want me to document next. Biggie Smalls was born Christopher George LaFleur Wallace on May 21st, 1972 in St. Mary's Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. He is the only child of Sulan George LaFleur, a welder and local politician back in Jamaica, and to his mother, Valletta Wallace, a preschool teacher. Now, young Christopher, he was raised alone by his mother, growing up in the neighborhood of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Now, his mother, she took to calling her young boy Chrissy Pooh after Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh, which is kind of a similar story to how Snoop Dogg got his name. But I'm glad notorious B.I.G. he didn't blow up as Biggie the Pooh. Be weird. He attended the Queen of All Saints Middle School where he excelled as a student. He picked up several awards for his work in English. He was also a fantastic illustrator and popular amongst his peers who took to calling him Big. Why? Well, you know why. Now, Biggie's mother was working multiple jobs to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads, which allowed young Biggie to explore the streets in his local area. There he would interact with countless drug addicts as well as drug dealers, and he saw for himself a little opportunity. He began selling drugs as young as 12, and by 13, well, he was smoking blunts and making cream. Whatever the hell that means, I have no idea. By the time he was 15, he had established himself as a full-time crack dealer, but people were no longer calling him Big. By now, people were calling him Biggie Smalls. Yeah, that's a moniker he picked up from the 1975 film Let's Do It Again.
Biggie Smalls. Your mama still working in them $10 houses?
Now, around this time, Biggie decided for himself that he wanted to change, and he was tired of his baby lotion soft. Roman Catholic Bishop Alawan Memorial High, so instead he attended the state-funded George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School. There he would walk the hallways alongside DMX, Busta Rhymes, and Jay-Z, and although the later of those two, they would be doing rap battles during lunch, well, Biggie, he didn't get involved, he didn't collaborate, he was too busy working the streets. In 1989, he was arrested on weapons charges and sentenced to 5 years probation. The next year, he was arrested for violating that probation, and then was arrested dealing crack and spent 9 months in a North Carolina prison. He would get frequent visits from his childhood gal pal, Lil' Kim, who he would stay close with until the very end. When Biggie got out, he decided to take his rapping extremely seriously. He began recording his own demos in the basement. He also teamed up with the rap collective known as Old Gold Brothers. Now, quickly, Biggie Smalls began to build up a strong reputation in his local area, And that homemade demo he made, it got into the hands of Mr. C, who was a well-known DJ and began playing some of his tracks. From there, The Source, they picked him up and ran an article on Biggie Smalls. Sean Puffy Combs at the time, he was working for Uptown Records, and he heard about this young up-and-coming rapper, Biggie Smalls, and he took interest. He got Uptown to sign them, but then Sean Puffy Combs would have his own falling out with the company, so him and Biggie would take a huge risk with Puffy starting his own label known as Bad Boy Entertainment. Now, Biggie Smalls was ready and eager to make a name for himself nationally, but he soon discovered there was another rapper out there by the name of Biggie Smalls. That's when he decided to call himself the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie did some work with other artists. He appeared on a 1993 remix of Mary J. Blige's single, Real Love, as well as What's the 411. He also had his own debut solo with the single Party and Bullshit. Around this time, his longtime girlfriend, well, she gave birth to his first child, Tiana. Then at the age of 21, Biggie Smalls got to work on his own debut album, Ready to Die. This was recorded mainly at the New York City The Hit Factory recording studio. That was around this time Biggie decided that he would freestyle his raps via memory rather than writing them down in a notebook. Why? Well, the guy was probably paranoid that someone would be stealing his work. Then in September of 1994, the Notorious B.I.G. released his debut album, Ready to Die. This told the story of his life from drug dealer to rapper. And on there, we got the tracks that everybody knows. I'm talking about Juicy, and I'm talking about Big Papa.
Your parents shouldn't be your best friends.
Why? I don't see
How
how
old are you?
Sorry, y'all. This one is popping up.
The album was a huge debut record. It climbed to number 3 on the R&B album charts, as well as number 15 on the Billboard Top 200. And yeah, it quickly went platinum. The Source named the Notorious B.I.G. the best new artist, the best live performer, and the best lyricist of the year. He began collaborating with the best of the best, including Michael Jackson. By the end of 1995, he was one of the best and most popular artists going. Now, he celebrated this success with his new wife, R&B singer Faith Evans, who he met at a Bad Boy photo shoot. He was also close pals at this time to Shaquille O'Neal as well as Tupac Shakur, but that would all change.
We all trying to be rich niggas, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That man's doing what he gotta do, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make good music, and he gonna make whatever he make. You know what I'm saying?
Now, although today we think of the Notorious B.I.G. as a big, cuddly rap legend, well, the guy was a scary mofo. He stood at 6'3", was nearly 400 pounds, and the guy was suffering from paranoia. You know, there's a lot of streets inside him, and he was figuring out that people were probably after his money. And, well, this resulted in a few episodes where he showed his aggression. In 1995, he beat up a man after a canceled performance and later took a baseball bat to a group of rowdy fans. Then, of course, there was the beef with Tupac Shakur. Now, I've already done it before they were dead on Tupac, so let's roll a clip from that. Tupac fell on the other side of violence when he got shot 5 times during a recording studio mugging. And after this incident, well, he was certain the fellas over at Bad Boy, well, they were behind it. But around this time, the feud between East Coast and West Coast was reaching a tipping point. Tupac, along with the Outlaw Immortals, released the diss track Hit 'Em Up with a lyrical assault on Biggie and Bad Boy. Now, in the track, Tupac had claimed to have had sexual relations with Faith Evans, who was Biggie's wife at the time. Yeah. Now, not long after Tupac released this song, he would die in a drive-by shooting that took place in Las Vegas, Nevada. After 6 days in the hospital, Tupac passed away on September 13th, 1996.
I mean, even though we was going through our drama, I would never wish death on nobody, you know what I'm saying? Because ain't no coming back from that.
Now, around this time, practically everyone was pointing their finger at Biggie. There was also an anti-violence summit held out in Harlem a few weeks later, and practically every hip-hop artist showed up except for Biggie. So the people were like, yeah, something's up. On March 9th, 1997, Biggie exited the Soul Train Music Awards and was sitting in an SUV when another vehicle pulled up to his car and opened fire. These bullets killed him.
Didn't say nothing. Just rolled up on the car, pulled out his hand out the window, started firing into the car.
I was actually on my way. I was dressed, ready to go.
Now, at the time of his passing, Biggie was only 24 years young. Now, although there has been plenty of speculation and investigations around the shooting, the gunman was never found. The case has never been solved. The leading explanation recently came from a former LAPD detective, Greg Cadding, who worked on Biggie's case. He stated that he had incriminating evidence against Wardle Poochie Foos, a gang member belonging to the mob Puro Bloods. Now, that officer, he was pulled from the case before he could solve it. 3 weeks after the passing of the Notorious B.I.G., well, he put out his second album, appropriately titled Life After Death. This record was a giant hit, selling 690,000 copies in its first week and eventually would go 10 times platinum. And off this one, well, we got the singles Hypnotize as well as Mo Money, More Problems. And the rest of the story, well, you know the story because this is Before They Were Dead. My name is Michael Cran. Thanks for checking out my personal channel. I do all sorts of stuff.
All right, y'all. That's it for this video, and I'm out. Peace.